Hey y'all, I won't be on long today. Well, actually, I could be on the I already got dressed. Usually on Sundays, I'm not dressed yet. And so then it's like, that's why I usually get on at 8. And then I have time to talk to you guys for a little bit and then get dressed and get ready for church and all that kind of stuff. But I'm already dressed now. I was like, let me give that a try. So now if I just feel like talking, I can just talk as much as I want. So I ain't got to be there for another hour almost. Anyway, so yesterday I was telling you guys Friday that I was going to this event that I was really excited about. So I went to the event yesterday. It was pretty cool. It ended up being very similar to the event that my church held last week. So basically, it was like just women talking about the subject that they were talking on about was freedom. So freedom in the mind, freedom in your emotions, freedom in your spirit. And so each woman like talked about that. And then, it's time, kind of get to know other women. And yeah, that kind of, one of those type of events or whatever. But on the tables, right, they had like prayer requests, a little piece of paper, right, where you could just write out your prayer request. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll write something down, right? And the first thing that came to mind was, oh, just courage to walk in God's calling for me. But then I was like, wait, no, that's not what it is I actually need. It's not the courage, because I have enough courage and enough boldness or whatever to like walk into whatever it is I'm being called to do. The problem with me, at least right now in this moment, I wouldn't necessarily say problem, but where I'm lacking right now in the season is just having the discipline. So it's like, yeah, you know what you're called to do, you're supposed to do all these things, like, but are you disciplined enough to really go forth and like do all the steps, do all the things that you need to do? So like one of the things is just studying and like studying not to teach somebody else something, but study just for your own knowledge, or like learning different verses so that if I have to pray for somebody or whatever, it comes back to me, quickly. Like, because the thing is, God can't bring nothing back to your remembrance if you never put it there in the first place. So, like, it's not really the courage is that the issue is just like making sure I have the discipline and to have the discipline to set that foundation. So, which requires me to literally like read the Bible. So, like, I read a lot. I read a whole lot. I'm reading like 30 books right now. So I read a lot, but it's like, all the devotionals, all the different, books like people wrote based off like their testimonies or all that kind of stuff. All those things are great and all, but at the end of the day, you should still be going to the Bible more than you go into those other resources. Like that extra stuff is just like, it's literally what it is. It's just like something like, okay, I'm not studying right now, but I want to, read a story or, be entertained. Then you can go to like that kind of stuff. But like for real, like, but that shouldn't be like the like all of what you're doing basically. And like particularly where I am right now, like at one point, like when I first really started like this whole walk with God and everything, like me reading the devotional, being committed to that, it was like I had this one, it was by Joyce Myers. It was Confident Woman, I think. And like it was, a year devotional. And like it was only for a year, but I ended up doing it over the course of like 2 years. But like, because I started it and then I stopped reading it. And then I didn't pick it up to like the following year. But like when I finally finished it, like that was a big thing for me because I was like, I decided I wanted to be consistent with it and I just decided to read it. And so like, that's something when I finished that devotional, like that was a big thing for me. That was a really big accomplishment. That was a really big step for me in my walk, really stuck with me and God. So being committed, like this is me putting up my part of it, being faithful to this thing that I decided to do because this was me trying to learn and grow in my faith. And so then the next year, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm good with devotionals. Like, yeah, the next one I did was, it was from She Reads Truth. And I think it might have just been She Reads or something like that. I don't remember the exact name, but it's from that group called She Reads Truth or She Reads Truth Ministries. If you go to Lifeway, they have quite a few Bibles, like some of their CBS for Christian CSB, Christian Standard Bible, I think is what it's called. They have some that the She Reads Truth versions of those Bibles. So that's where I think I just found them on Instagram actually. But anyways, I got one of their devotionals, and so for the next year, so literally I started in January, and then December, every single day I was reading that devotional. And so then the next year I was like, okay, yeah, like this is my thing, like this is something I'm consistent with. So I was looking for another devotional, right? And the thing was like I felt this pull, like I couldn't find one. I just couldn't find one that I was interested in. And like then I started to realize, okay, and I was starting to feel this pull that, okay, I need to do something more than just a devotional. Like I was at the point where, so I've been done. So this is about my going into my 4th year, because remember the first one I did over 2 years, and then the second one I did over a year. So this is going in my 4th year. I'm really trying to be more intentional about reading, learn more about God. So that, little devotional at that point, like where, it's basically just a paragraph and like a couple of scriptures that, follows it. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for where I was at that time. Like when I first started, like that was like, plenty. Like literally, I was like amazed. And the thing that's funny, because in the Confident Woman one, like the passages weren't even all that long all the time. Some of them were quite short, but that's exactly what I needed in that season. But then after 3 years of being, pretty consistent with doing that, or at least 2 real consistent years of it, by year 4, it was kind of like, okay, I need to go something more. I need to do more. I need to go deeper. And so like I started this one where it was like you read the Bible in the year, but I was under the pretense of that. So the way they break it up, they had like, it wasn't you just start at Genesis and end at Revelations. They'll have you do like a chapter of Genesis, then a chapter of Psalms, and then a chapter of like Matthew or something like that. Like that was like the first one. And so I thought that because the way they broke it up, that they were all connected. So like this chapter in Genesis was connected to this Psalm, that was connected to this first chapter of Matthew. I thought they were all connected. And for a while, some of them did really line up really nicely. I didn't realize that it was just like, no, this is just being more strategic. Psalm is the longest book in the Bible, like over 100-something chapters. So like they get you going on that first. So then that way, like literally it'll take you about half the year to finish that. So that's why they get you on that, sooner. And then they have you doing something from the Old Testament, then something from the New Testament. Like literally that's the strategy. But I thought this was because they were all connected in some type of way, but they weren't. And so that was a little bit discouraging for me. But also it's just that one thing I've learned since then, because I've tried this whole, reading the Bible in a year. And it's not that it's something I would, like if I really wanted to be disciplined with it, that I couldn't do it. It's just right now and where I am, I don't need to do it. Like what I need is to find like if I'm going to through a particular thing, or like if I'm in a certain season where I'm trying to learn about a certain thing, I need to go specifically to the Bible where that is at. So like if I'm dealing with healing, for example, I need to go maybe look up the different healings that Jesus did. I don't need to be in, like Genesis. Well, Genesis is pretty cool. Like, like some of those random ones where it's like there's no like real healing or nothing like that going on in that particular book, because then that won't be really useful for me. And so for me, it's always been difficult to just really be consistent in reading the Bible and not just reading it. And because the thing is, I'll read it, but I'll just be reading it to read it, not to reading it to actually learn and actually, change behavior. Because that's the thing. It's like, the whole point of the Bible, well, not the whole point of it is to really be consistent and allow the words of God to transform you. And so if you're only reading it just to mark off something on your day, or you're only reading it to like say you did it, then you're not gonna get that transformation. Like, yeah, you probably know a bunch of random facts about different people in the Bible, but are you allowing it to transform you? And so me in this season that I'm in right now, just allowing the Word of God to just really transform me, transform the way I think, or some of the other things that I do, is a lot more useful. And so that's where I am as far as praying for discipline. So like making sure that I am consistent in that area. That's really the area where it's like, okay, you're doing a lot, everything's pretty cool, but you could be doing more as it comes to like reading the Bible. And it's kind of interesting though, because like on Tuesday we had Bible study, and like we actually talked about the Bible. He actually my pastor broke down, like the Bible, and like really, so we can have an understanding of literally what the book is. So, it's like, okay, 66 books in the Bible, 39 in the Old, 27 in the New. And he broke down like how our Bible is different from like the Catholic Bible. I didn't realize the Catholics like have a different Bible than we do. Like they literally have more books in their Bible than we do. And it's like crazy. And he broke it down. He broke down why they have those books and what period of time those books came from. And so that way, like if you're ever asked, because the thing is, Paul said, but you're able to have a reason to defend your faith. Like, why do you believe? And the only way you can really like say, okay, this is what I believe, and this is why I believe, is by understanding the Bible, but then also be able to relate that into someone else. So if they're Muslim and they read the Quran, like knowing a little bit about it, so then you can be able to say, hey, these are the things that line up but this is the part that you guys are missing, and this is what I believe and why I believe it, And so one of the things that he also talked about, it's like kind of like a side point really, was that how we as individuals are so much responsible for making sure that we're exposed to as much as possible. Like, like he can give us, we have Bible study, we have church, we have Bible study, we have all these things, like, and he can, give us some, like, give us like a certain amount or whatever, but it's like it's our responsibility and really more like a charge to like enlighten us to really go after God for ourselves, making it for ourselves. Because the thing is, like, Tuesday we talked about the Bible. That's literally what we talked about. But if let's say I wanted to talk about, like deliverance or something like that, I wouldn't have got it from that particular Bible study because that's not what we were talking about. So it's my then job to go like deeper into the word or deeper looking for it, being exposed as much as possible. And so like that's just something I've been like really focusing on the last, I probably say from August of last year to now, like really making sure I'm exposed to as much as possible. Just because like I grew up in the Baptist church, and so I know Baptist church like really well, but I didn't realize until I like went to a different type of church that it's like churches are very specifically between the different denominations are very much different. And so like, and where I am now in the church I am now, it's very much different than the church that I grew up in. So now I'm just trying to like almost making up for lost time, not really lost time because I got a really great foundation at my home church, but like also being able to now like, okay, there's more out there. Let me go after it. Let me go see it. And so that's the reason why I went to the event yesterday, because I was like, okay, let's call it Sister Circle. I was like, I never heard of that. I don't know what that is. Let me go and just see what it's like, And it's like, okay, cool. And now I know. So then if someone else mentioned something about Sister Circle, I was like, okay, I have a good frame of reference of what that actually is, And so that's one of the things I'm just like in this season really being more strategic about, making sure I'm exposed to as much as possible, but then also making sure that what I'm like learning more about and getting more experiences in are also the things that line up with what God has called me to do. But the thing is like, there's some things that like, I know there are conferences on, like I know there's a conference coming up on like dream interpretation, all that kind of stuff, but that's not in this season. That's not where I am. That's not an area of focus for me. So while it'll be really good information, like it won't be necessarily useful for me in this season right now. So it's like being smart about it, using wisdom, and making sure that I'm being as strategic as possible, also being financially responsible. Because like these conferences cost money. So, I can't just be out here just trying to go to everybody's conference. I got to make sure that I prioritize and go to the ones that I know are going to be great for me in the season that I am right now. So I just wanted to encourage you guys. I'm really excited about the season that I am. Like, but I just want to encourage you guys to really like, take ownership of your faith, take ownership of your walk, learn as much as possible and go to different, like go outside of your comfort zone, because there's so much more of God that like I didn't even realize, and it wasn't until I started going to other churches, until I went to different conferences, until I started learning about other preachers and like watching some of their sermons where I like the world like literally all opened up to me. So like, don't be afraid of it, and also just use wisdom. Like, it's okay to try like a different church that's different from what you grew up in. As long as they preaching the Bible, you're good, So yeah. I hope you guys have a great day. I will talk to you guys soon.